Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take the sources you give us, like today's incredible stack, and pull out the key insights so you can get properly informed fast. Today, we're diving into something that, well, it affects a lot of people, but often stays hidden. We're calling it the invisible workforce. They're not just kids, they're caregivers.
Mm.
And honestly, some of the facts about kids and young adults taking on these huge caregiving roles are really quite surprising.
Yeah. And our goal today, our mission for this deep dive, is really to get a clear picture. Who are these young caregivers? What are they actually dealing with day to day? And importantly, why is it so critical we recognize them, their contributions, their challenges? It's all based on the material you shared.
Absolutely. That mission really grounds us. Okay, so let's unpack this. Who exactly are we talking about when we say young caregiver?
Well, looking at the sources, the first thing that jumps out is just how broad this group is. It's not just teenagers, right?
No, I was surprised by that.
Yeah, the age range is actually from 5 years old, all the way up to 25.
Wow.
Yep. And they could be caring for a sibling, maybe a parent, or even a grandparent. And the reasons, they're all over the map. Chronic illness, an intellectual or physical disability, mental health issues, even addictions.
That's a huge scope. It
Yeah.
really makes you wonder, are there situations where professionals should almost expect to find them, even if they're hidden? Like, what clues do the sources give? Because it sounds like professionals across different fields might be interacting with them constantly without realizing.
That's exactly right. The sources offer some really clear prompts. Think about it. Are you a healthcare professional? Just diagnose someone with cancer, maybe another chronic illness. Do they have kids? Well, guess what? Those kids are probably young caregivers.
Huh. So it's a direct link.
And it applies elsewhere, too. Physiotherapists working with someone with a disability. If that person has children,
Then those kids are likely caregivers too.
right, or educators, got a student with special needs who has siblings. Chances are those siblings are helping out significantly at home. They're young caregivers.
And social workers too, I imagine, dealing with families facing mental health struggles or addiction.
Absolutely. If there are children in that home, they could very well be part of this invisible workforce.
Wow.
It opens your eyes to how widespread this really is.
It really does. It shifts the perspective entirely.
Well,
Okay, so that defines who they are. But the sources also went deep into what they actually do. And it's a lot more than just, helping out around the house sometimes, isn't it?
oh, definitely. It's not just general helping out. The material breaks it down. You've got support through,
Yeah.
physical means,
Yeah.
extra chores, yeah, but also making full meals, taking care of younger siblings completely.
And then there's the more direct personal care.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
What the sources call personal means. This can involve administering medication, helping someone move around, assisting with bathing, really intimate, demanding tasks.
That's a heavy load.
And on top of all that, there's the emotional side, just being there to listen, offering comfort, providing that emotional stability for the person they're caring for.
Sure.
Well, it's a remarkable amount for anyone, let alone a child or young adult.
And, you hear that list and you immediately think, there has to be a cost.
Right.
All that responsibility, especially for someone young, what's the impact?
There absolutely is a cost. The sources are quite clear about the hidden toll. We see higher risks for things like depression, anxiety, even self-harm sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah. And isolation is a big one. Feeling different from their friends, low self-esteem, trouble connecting with peers who just don't understand their reality. It's not just missing parties. It's fundamental to their well-being.
And it must bleed into everything else, like school. The sources mention that too.
Definitely. School life takes a hit. They're often tired, understandably. This makes it hard to focus in class, keep up with homework, pay attention. Just imagine being exhausted all the time, plus carrying the worry about your parent or sibling. It's immense.
Yeah, I could barely function on a bad night's sleep, let alone making that the norm, plus all that stress. The sources you shared included some specific stories that really brought this home. Paul's story, for instance.
Paul's story, yeah, it's powerful. He's 16. His dad has an acquired brain injury. So Paul goes to all the medical appointments because his dad can't remember instructions or what needs to happen next. Paul holds all that information.
He's the expert in the room, essentially.
He is, but here's the thing. He says he's often ignored by the healthcare professionals. His quote really says it all. I wish medical professionals would listen to me and know that when I talk about my father, I know what I'm talking about. I see it every day. I'm the one caring for him every day.
That's frustrating, doesn't even cover it. Being 16, holding that responsibility and being dismissed, it really makes you rethink who holds the knowledge in these situations. And then there was Jonah. He's only 9.
Jonah's situation is just heartbreaking, really. His older brother is 11, has autism. They're at the same school. Jonah is basically on call. If his brother has a meltdown at school, the teachers call Jonah out of his class to help calm him down.
At 9 years old.
9. And at home, if his brother doesn't sleep, Jonah doesn't sleep, which means he's exhausted for school. Plus, he's constantly worried about his brother. His quote was so simple but so telling. "I wish my teachers could understand that I am not handing in homework late on purpose. I have a lot to do at home and have to help my brother all the time. When he doesn't sleep, I don't sleep."
Oh, man. That puts it right there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just this sheer weight on such young shoulders. So, okay, we see the problem, we see the impact. What about solutions? Did the sources point towards ways to actually support these kids?
Yes, thankfully. The material highlights organizations doing critical work, like the Young Caregivers Association. Their whole mission is basically to create a Canada where these young caregivers and their families get the recognition and support they need to, actually thrive.
Okay, and how do they do that? What kind of support?
Well, they offer direct help, things like free social activities, recreation programs, and clinical services, too. Practical stuff. But crucially, they also focus on changing the system. They run training programs for professionals.
Ah, for the doctors, teachers, social workers we mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Training them to actually identify young caregivers, to connect with them, and to know how to support them effectively.
That seems so key because, like the sources pointed out, those professionals are often the ones with the most consistent access, right?
They really are. And sometimes it just takes one question. Asking a patient or a client or a student about their home situation can literally change a young caregiver's life by opening a door to support. The sources stress this. These young caregivers are depending on those professionals to see them.
It's such a simple idea, but profound. Just asking the question.
It is. It connects back to the bigger picture. Awareness is step one. But then applying that knowledge, like professionals being trained to identify and help, that's where the real value lies. Healthcare providers, educators, social workers, they're vital, just as the source material emphasizes. They can make such a difference.
So this deep dive really hammered home the contributions these young people make and the huge challenges they face, often totally unseen. Understanding this really is like a shortcut to grasping a hidden but vital part of how our communities function, based on everything you brought in today.
Absolutely. And that role of awareness, that power of just identifying someone, it can't be overstated. It's about shifting from ignoring the problem to actively finding and empowering these kids who are already doing so much.
Right. So it'd be something for you, the listener, to think about. How does knowing about this invisible workforce change how you perceive responsibility, maybe support within families or your community? And perhaps what small steps could you take just to be a bit more aware of the quiet burdens people around you might be carrying? That's it for today's deep dive. Want more? Stay connected with Global Heroes through our newsletter and socials.